Hey guys, Willie and Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the next installment of Luke's Classic Mini. Yes.
I know you don't love me like you say you do.
Previous episode, hopefully you've seen that one. We installed the clutch. Everything is now done back up and tight and clean, adjusted and ready to go. I've got to bleed the slave cylinder, but I'm going to turn my attention today to all of this nest of wiring, the starter solenoid. I've got an earth strap that needs to be attached properly because that was currently fouling on the slave cylinder. I want to reinstall the starter, the alternator, adjust up the fan belt, and then get it to a point in this episode where I can turn that key and get it fired into life. Now there's no exhaust on it at the moment, so it will be very, very loud, but I just want to make sure that everything is going to be starting before I can basically move on to make sure that there's nothing I've missed. I know there's a couple of loose wires like this one. Luckily I took a picture and that goes up onto this red cable. I know there was, I think, there you go, the white and the pink for the starter. That needs to go onto the bottom spade, but that come out the spade connector. And then we just got a few things like this, just like loitering around, which they need to go onto these two. But again, just want to try and make sure it's all nice and neat and tidy, and maybe even trying to put a few more cable ties around this wiring and just get it all a little bit more presentable and yeah, less messy, I think is the main key today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the work. Right, back again for the next day. It's just gone 11 o'clock, so I've got a full day in the garage now from here until about 5 o'clock. And the plan is to try and get as much done in the engine bay as possible today, with the intention of being able to turn the key and start it up later on. Now I know that's been sort of going on for a few days, but I've sort of been held up by a few bits and pieces. So what I've done is yesterday, obviously finished the clutch. And then I've just tried to tidy up some of these wires so they're now all sort of watertight. I've put a lot of the stuff that was all nested up here back. I smashed one of my lights, so now I've only got one. And yeah, it's just lots of things that are going on. And I'm just going to try now and connect up the coil. That's then going to go up here. Once the coil is installed, I've got the earth strap, which I'm going to put the earth to somewhere on the body, probably on the back of this nut. What are they called? The buttons, the grill buttons. And then once that's done, it's kind of that area complete. I won't put the horn back in until I've bled it, but just make sure that it's all fine and dandy and as it should be. So, lots still to do. The weather has warmed up significantly. I think it's supposed to be about 12 degrees. I think it's supposed to be about 12 degrees today. So hopefully I can get as much done in the engine as possible and then paint the seal again. Because I've got a delivery from Paints for You. Another tin of paint. Well, if I hope it is. I haven't opened it yet. And then just give that another coat. And then hopefully that'll be the last coat that needs. And then that'll be all the painting work done. Then going forward I can put the interior and stuff in and get the car back as it should be. But yeah, let's crack on. Finish doing this wiring. I'm just trying to tidy it up a little bit with cable ties and stuff at the moment, and then start putting the ancillaries back together. Frustratingly, while that blue paint looked amazing, I've just checked down here and give it a bit of a prod, and a lot of the paint flaked off. There was a bit of condensation on the engine, so I've wiped it with a rag, or just a bit of blue roll, and quite a lot of the paint flaked. So I got my heat gun to try and give it a dry it off that way, and it just sort of bubbled and all sorts. So I've taken the paint off, and we're going to paint it potentially a different colour now. I don't think maybe I hadn't prepped the engine enough, maybe, or you can still see the blue and the red underneath. So maybe it wasn't prepped, maybe it was just the paint didn't like that type of metal, maybe it just was the wrong temperatures to paint at, maybe it needed the engine to sort of warm up to bake it on. I don't know, but it's not ideal. So I've taken it all off, and it's now at the point where I can slap something on. Probably going to revert back to my original plan, which is this blue. But I've just messaged Luke to see what he wants, because I can do blue, black, red, yellow, or silver. And if he turns around and says he wants it silver, then, you know, that's fine, I can do it. But if I start painting it one colour, I can't then stop and do it a different colour, because that stuff is really, really thick. So, yeah, a bit of a shame, like everything in this car. But we will get there in the end. Everything will be okay. And it's just another thing to add to the list of jobs to do. I'm really disappointed about that paint, but just been in for lunch, and I sent Luke a message earlier to say, if you had to redo the colour of your car, what would you like it? I can slap on some blue, or I can do any other colour. His response was blue, because it seems like the easiest option. And then I said to him, well, I can do blue, I can do red, I can do yellow, I can do black, or possibly silver. And he said black. Black sounds pretty cool. I guess black ties in with the roof and the arches and the roof rack. So, thankfully, up here, I have gloss black, high temperature engine enamel paint. So I need to make sure it's all prepped properly this time. Suitable for temperatures up to 180 degrees for water-cooled engines. Okay. So just reading through here, I've got 90 minutes between coats, so let's slap some on now, and then do some other bits and pieces, come back, and then slap some more on. So 90 minutes, that's what, hour and a half? So not too bad. Right, let's do it. I'm not quite sure when the battery died. So since then I have fitted new copper washers to the top. So there's 2 on the top and there's 2 on the bottom, and I've just rerouted this. It's got a bit of a sort of twist in it, but it's better positioned than it was previously, because before it was going to fouling on this spring here. I've also installed the engine steady. Now I have noticed that it's come away from the bulkhead a little bit, so just move some stuff out and then just put a bit of weld on there, and that'll be done. It looks like it's been repaired previously because the holes were not in line at all, which isn't great. So I had to get my drill and go down here and drill through to make sure that obviously that was not touching anything. And it's got clearance behind the car, which is great. And that was an absolute pig to fit, but take some time to appreciate how smart that engine is looking. Right, so just going to be tightening up these bolts for the clutch, the banjo bolts, and then I'm going to just tidy up some of this, more of this wiring. I've got some cable ties. This is what I set up to do this morning, but actually haven't done anything that I set out to do because of, well, engine painting. Okay, I come to a bit of a standstill with the engine because I can't do anything until I put a second coat of paint on it, and then I can't put anything onto it because it's not dry yet. So what I'm going to do is turn my attention back to this. So obviously this was the part I sprayed I was quite happy with. This is the part I wasn't particularly happy with. Although it looks like it's improved somewhat, I still need to go over and give it another thicker coat. It'd be like a nice wet coat of paint from all the way down this doorstep, all the way along, down to the side step, and then underneath the sill. So that is going to be the job. Once that's all wet, I can then maybe put a little bit more paint, not that I need it, but on the back seat, and then maybe just have whatever's left for spares, touch up things, should it be required. Once this bit of paint's done, the windows can go back in, the interior can go in, and everything can be sort of reinstalled as it's supposed to be. So super, super exciting times ahead. Let's get to it. Alright, it's painted. Fingers crossed when it dries, it's going to dry that nice smooth and glossy finish. I'm going to know a real thorough wet coat, and hopefully, I really, really hope that clears up alright. So I've got the heater on. Engine just needs to dry. I'll come back in there an hour or so, give or take, and put another coat of paint on. The wiper motor is now fitted, that's all nice and secure. So the clutch hose was tight at the top, but on the bottom I actually undone that by hand, so that's not good. It's all tight now with new washers, so hopefully that will resolve that issue. And yeah, as I say, it's looking really good. Just going to come back in because I can't breathe and finish some bits off, and then maybe tomorrow we'll get the car back in. Who knows? Good morning. Right, it's another day, another dollar. The engine is looking pretty swish. It's got a bit of condensation on it, but once that dries off, it will be absolutely swell. So yeah, that's looking really good. But the moment of truth is, I need to see what happened with regards to the doorstep. As I say, I'm absolutely dreading this. I'll just show you underneath. So the door seal, you can see it went like a really flat colour. So yesterday I decided I would repaint the doorstep and see how it went. It goes, oh my god, what a sigh of relief that is. That is looking mega. So yeah, it's dried, it's shiny, that's what we're after. Get in. Got to redo the seal. What I did was I put a coat on, and then when it went tacky I put a second coat on, like a wet covering, and then it's dried up lovely. So I'll do that for the underside, and hopefully by the end of today or tomorrow the underside will be looking as good as that. If it's not, then I'll go back to Luke's original plan of painting the seals black, because I can't keep messing around with this. It's costing me a fortune in paint. So yeah, awesome, super happy, super pleased. I'll give it a cut, give it a polish, and then we can move on to the reinstalling the interior. Get in. Okay, so I cleaned up the alternator yesterday. Done a pretty good job of just cleaning it back to silver. I painted the thermostat housing and then the fan. Now the fan's a bit of a funny one really, because this breather on the back, I'm not sure if this is the correct for this engine. Without, well, you've got the water pump, the pulley, and then you've got the spacer. I don't know if you can see down the back there, there's a gap between the spacer and the fan. Now when you mounted it directly to it, the blades actually hit onto the back of that breather. So when I actually looked into what I removed, it had a pulley, a spacer, a nut, the fan, and then the bolt all the way through. And the bolts, or the nuts, acted like an extra spacer. So I've fit them in now, and you've now got clearance between that belt and the fan and that canister. So that's good. Next up, I've got to put the starter motor in, and everything's looking pretty good actually. I'm really happy with how it's all looking, and I'm going to place this out now. I know Cole over at Classic Mini DIY asked about this the other day and said, why is the dipstick bent? Now the dipstick for this car is here, but I thought rather than getting it painted, I'll put an old one in, bend it out the way so no paint went down into the sump, and then paint can go onto the engine. So I thought that'd be a pretty smart idea. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. But yes, I've got to put the starter motor in, bolt that all up. I got to connect the new battery cable from the rear, where the battery is, all underneath to the front. Connect it up to this little union here on the starter solenoid, and then I think we're ready to turn that key. Really, it won't start though because I haven't got any fuel from the front to the rear or rear to the front. So today's tasks: fit the starter motor, fit the battery cable, fit the fuel pipe, and paint that door sill. And I think we are ready to rock and roll. Okay, the battery cable's all connected up. Just pushed it on for now. Now I know this isn't going to start, but I just wanted to make sure that it's going to crank, because I've messed around with the electrics and I've messed around with the all sorts, and the battery's dead. Great. So I'm pretty happy and confident that that's all been connected up right. Let's take that back off for now. It's not nice and neat and tidy. I'll put that bung in there in a second. It's all ran underneath and tucked up into the channel. I need to put a P-clip on the back, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with how that's all situated. It's moved away from the exhaust, it's not going to burn, and it's all connected up here nice and neatly away from that plunger. This earth strap I'm going to put up here onto the cow horn mount, so nothing will be in the way at all. And in fact, I might even go behind here to make it even neater, like that, and then I can probably cable tie all those together. So pretty good job. Let's get the battery all charged up, and hopefully it will start first turn of the key. If not, it could be where I've messed around with the ignition or the speedo. Maybe I've unplugged something. It could be down here. I'm hoping it's just gonna be a simple case of just the battery's flat, give it a jump, and it'll be absolutely fine, or give it a bit of a boost. So I'll take it out now, stick it on charge. Okay, a short while later, the battery is charged. It is tight here, it's tight there. And I've just nipped up the earth on the engine into the inner wing, just to make sure that that's going to be okay. Let's see. Oh, we have an ignition light. No, it's not going to start with no fuel, but... Excellent. Turn the key off. So, the engine cranks over. It's not going to fire because obviously my HT leads aren't attached. There's no fuel and there's no fuel line. So, just going to nip out to the local shop to get some ramps. So, I've been looking for a set of these ramps for a while, and every time they pop up on Facebook or eBay or anything, they're either a million miles away or they're just stupidly expensive. So I've got 2 at the front, and what I'll do is put 2 on the back, so I can lift the car all the way. I can get underneath easily. I can put the fuel line in. I can set the ride height from underneath as well, and hopefully that means that I can do the rest of the jobs I need underneath the car, including repainting the stone chip underneath, masking up the seals, and just make life a little bit easier. I should have done it sooner. I know they've got them in stock, and they're 26 quid, so I'm going to do that as opposed to trying to order some online about 45, 50 quid. So back in a minute, and we'll get the car up in the air. I'll do the fuel pipe, get some fuel in the tank, and then get it fired up. Right, okay, so I've been to the shop. I've got some new axle stands, or some car ramps as they're called. So the car is now up off the ground, and there's plenty of room for me to get underneath. So all 4 wheels are in the air, and that means I can do the fuel lines, the exhaust, tidy up the rest of the piping underneath, which is the brake line and the battery cables. In the boot, the battery is all connected up. I'm just going to change this out, and I've got something that I think will be quite good for that job, for that purpose. Spare wheels back in, so this can get all closed back up. Ooh, that's pretty tight to do. So yeah, with the car on the ramps, it means I can get access all underneath. Shouldn't have any issues. The engine's cranking, so once I've got fuel and connect up all the spark plugs again, it should be ready to rock and roll. And I kind of feel like this is a good point to end this episode. So if you have enjoyed the content, obviously I've diverted and deviated slightly from what the plan was originally. But if you have enjoyed the content, then consider becoming a subscriber if you haven't done so already. Leave a thumbs up and comment down below. Really keen to hear all your thoughts, feedback, etc. This project has been quite a long one so far, considering it just came to me for a clutch. But it's been enjoyable, and there's lots of things that I've done, lots of tasks that I've carried out just to make sure that the longevity of this car is protected, and it's going to get back on the road and be better than ever. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.